Want to learn the easiest way to get rid of collection accounts on your credit report? Stay tuned and I'm going to be breaking down just that. Hey there, I'm Tomy Boboy, your credit and personal finance coach. If this is your first time on my channel, guys, I just want to say welcome. Typically what I'm going to be posting on this channel is going to be videos about improving your credit and how to achieve your personal finance goals. So if you'd be interested in seeing that type of content, be sure that you hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of my future videos. So the reason why I decided to shoot an actual video focused specifically on medical collection accounts on your credit report is because I didn't realize until I started working with people and helping them fix their credit, how many of us actually have that on our credit reports, right? That was one of the most common types of accounts that I would see on people's credit reports would be medical collections, right? And I started looking into the statistics, and that's when I understood why that was. It's been said that over 32% of American consumers have medical debt, and over half of those people have defaulted on those medical debts. What does that mean? If you're defaulting on medical debts, typically what a hospital is going to do is once they try to collect it from you after a few months or whatever it is, maybe a year or two, then they're going to typically end up sending that debt to a debt collector or selling it off to a debt collector. And that's what leads to you having that on your credit report. So what exactly are the steps that you should take to be able to dispute these medical collections? First thing you want to do is you want to treat it like any other type of collection account that you would have. Right? What you want to do is you want to make sure that you are validating it with the debt collector. The reason being is if a debt collector doesn't have the legal authorization to collect the debt from you, they automatically have to remove it from your credit report and can no longer report that to the credit bureaus, right? It also means that they have to stop with those annoying phone calls and even reaching out to you about the debt because they weren't able to show you proof that they were able to collect it in the first place. Now, the great thing about medical debts is that there's certain laws that protect your privacy when it comes to any of your medical information. So whenever you ask a debt collector to validate that they're able to collect on your debt, typically what they will want to do is they'll want to send you information that they've gotten directly from the hospitals. Now, hospitals sometimes might actually send them information even down to the bill, right? Breaking down item by item what you actually went into the hospital for, or if you went into even a doctor's visit, right? What you went into that specific doctor's visit to get. Now that's a violation of what's called HIPAA law. If a debt collector sends you any information like a bill showing itemized breakdown of what kind of services you received when you were in that doctor's office, when you were at that hospital, for whatever reason, then they have potentially broken HIPAA laws, right? And so what you want to do in that instance is you want to send them back a letter stating exactly what they've just done, that they've broken HIPAA laws by sending you this information, and they have two options at that point. Option number one, either they can remove the debt from your credit report, or what they can do is they can leave it on your credit report and you will find an attorney and be able to sue for damages because of HIPAA law violation. Now guys, if that information makes sense or you find this information valuable, be sure to hit the like button down below so we can get this video out to more people. And I know that I'm on the right track in what I'm actually teaching you guys. Now, let's say that you're in a situation where you might be in a little more of a rush and you can't afford the time to go back and forth with the debt collector. What should you do to be able to get this removed as fast as possible? Now, this will more than likely end up costing you something, right? Since you're giving up the time aspect of it, and instead of you giving your time, you're gonna have to give more than likely some sort of money or some sort of compensation. But what I typically recommend is you do what you would do with any other collection account. You can negotiate directly with the debt collector and talk with them to have them, see if you guys can come to an agreement about what amount can be paid to get rid of the debt. Now, first things first, what you want to do is you want to check and make sure it's out of the statute of limitations. Now, every state in the US has a different statute of limitations based off of whatever state laws that they have set up. Now, if it's past or outside of your statute of limitations, what that means is the debt can no longer be sued on. So they can't sue you because you owe them money. All they can do is try to collect from you, and they really have no legal power to do anything else besides that, unless they can get you to make a payment or something to reactivate the debt. The reason why I like to bring that up is because that lets you know how much more leverage that you might have in the situation, right? If a debt collector knows that they have no legal recourse when it comes to that specific debt, then they're going to be more likely to be willing to negotiate with you, and they're going to be willing to take a smaller settlement because that's for them is better than nothing. Now, before I jump more into the negotiating, I kind of want to give you guys an understanding of how debt collectors go about getting your debts in the first place. How is a whole nother company able to come to you and demand that you pay a debt that had nothing to do with them in the first place? Well, the way it works is, let's say, for example, you go to a hospital, right? You have a hospital bill of $1,000. The hospital is going to keep trying to collect that money from you. And let's say after 6 months or maybe even a year, they keep sending you letters, they're giving you calls, but you haven't given them a penny, right? You haven't given them a dime, nothing like that. And so what they're typically going to do is they're going to decide that they just need to make something off of this money, right? They got to make at least part of this money back. And so what they'll do is they'll typically take that $1,000 debt that you owe them and they'll sell it to a debt collector. Now, the debt collector is going to buy that $1,000 that you owe, and they might pay $200 to the hospital for it. Okay, so the debt collector bought $1,000 worth of debt for $200, which means if they're able to collect $1,000 from you, then they can make an $800 profit on the debt. So when you understand that basic theory right there, you now understand why debt collectors are so willing to negotiate with you. Because at the end of the day, they really don't need that full amount, right? They just need to be able to make a profit, a certain profit, whatever it is their in-house profit margins are. That's all they need to reach for them to be able to continue making money and running their business. So that's why I always recommend that whenever you're dealing with debt collectors, especially on debts that are older, the older the debt, the more easy it is, or the easier it is to negotiate, right? So what I typically recommend is, especially if it's a debt that's fairly old and if it's out the statute of limitations, you could easily ask for 40 to even 80% off depending on how much the debt is. Lastly, I do want to mention one other thing. You do always want to make sure that you're asking them for a pay for delete, okay? And all that really means is that you're asking them that, hey, if I pay this debt off and we come to a settlement and we agree upon a settlement for me to be able to give you a certain lump sum amount and we close off this debt, that you're also going to remove it from my credit report. The reason why I say that is because I've had a lot of people who I worked with that would come up to me and tell me that, you know, they might have paid off a collection account on their credit report, but then they said that their score didn't go up at all. Now, the reason why is because just because you pay off a collection account, your score isn't going to shoot up because it's still showing a collection account in the first place on your credit report. So you always want to make sure that you're asking them to remove it from your credit report once you've paid it off. Now, some of them might say that they can't do it. You might need to try to talk to somebody else to get it done, but it's a technique that they do because it gives them, it's more of an incentive for them to be able to actually collect, right? If you're telling them that if they delete it, you'll pay it off, it gives them a little more leverage to get you to pay the debt off. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. At this point, now you know how to deal with any type of collection accounts that might show up on your credit report by just following those simple steps. That's going to put you way ahead of 90% of people out there who are having the exact same issues on their credit report. So that's all for this video, guys. Be sure that you click the link down below to download my credit boost guide, where it's going to show you how to go about quickly boosting your credit score within the next 30 days by just following a few key steps. So go ahead and click that link. It should be down in the description below. Lastly, if this video has brought you any value, be sure that you throw a like on this video. That way YouTube is recommending this video to other people and we can show this to as many people as possible to help them fix their credit reports as well. Also, don't miss a chance to hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss any of my future videos that I will be releasing about credit and personal finance. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next one.